Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
I guarantee you're going to be so excited that you stayed tuned to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show for the second half of our weekly show. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., we love sharing with you and guiding you to personal and financial wellness. And we have a great guest. We've been bantering back and forth during our break with Donald Sherwyn with Reap Rickett Law Firm out here, who's been our family law, experts.
Yep.
For years and years and years, and I am intimate with them now.
Don was joking in the first few years. I hope he didn't need it. Hope he didn't need it. Hope he didn't need it. But when you do,
Donald doesn't even know about this, but it's funny because Jim's been on our show for years. We've become very good friends, and we're talking about Jim Reap of Reap Ricketts, and Jim's just a great guy, quite a character, right, Donald?
Oh, Jim is a trooper.
He is. So we have Donald Sherwyn with Reap Ricketts, and he's here to talk about some subjects that we have not spoken about. But before we dive into that, I want to let everybody know how you can get a hold of great professionals such as the Reap Rickett firm. Because of us now for 5.5 years, believe it or not, Donald, they haven't kicked us off the air. I don't think they even know we do this because we do it at our custom-built studio here in Skyline Home Loans, the Vault Media Studio, which you can enter by going to donandgino.com, donandgino.com, click on the live stream button, and we have 3 HD cameras thanks to AP Productions and Furman in the back, and you can join us. It's the only way you get in the vault because you don't have a key.
Yeah, what I'm really excited about, Don, is that the Reap Rickett firm, every single time, somehow I know, and let's give Sarah some kudos. She's probably helping you guys. You guys probably have a cheat sheet of what you guys talk about because every single time someone brings something fresh and new.
And great.
And you would think that if we're talking about family law, it was always going to be just divorce, but it's not. We talk about so many other things. And
that are important.
Today's no different. When I'm looking at our cheat sheet and what we're going to talk about, it's fresh and new as well.
Yes, even though I'm not one yet, either you will be. Donald, we're going to talk about grandparent rights.
That's absolutely right.
Pretty predominant these days, I would imagine, and becoming more so.
It has become a much bigger topic than it was only 10 years ago. And that's because of the very important case that came down with the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, 16 years ago, in 2000, the Troxel versus Granville case was decided. And interestingly enough, many people thought it was a death knell to grandparents' rights, but that is absolutely not true. What it did do was define what a state should do to give prioritization to parent decisions about their children's relationships with family and friends, and certain steps that should be taken to make sure that that prioritization is honored by state law.
Okay. So why don't we start with this? Help us out a little bit, Donald. And again, we're here with Donald Sherwyn with Reap Rickett Law Firm. And explain how this could come to base of the courts. I mean, regarding, I guarantee you, it's usually, in most cases, it's a divorce situation. There's grandparents involved, and it could get ugly, right?
It can. That is one of the main ways that grandparents do end up having their previous harmonious relationship with their grandchildren disrupted.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
When there's a divorce, people who were partners, mom and dad, are no longer intimate partners, either at a family level or at a personal level. The lines get drawn, and grandparents who were favored before now find themselves in a place or a position of disfavor. And they want to do something, and they have the ability to do something to reestablish that grandparent-grandchild relationship.
Well, that's really good because, I can imagine, as a child, not only are you dealing with the separation of your parents and the custody battle that may be happening there, the financial drama, the separation of the home, the change of schools, all these other things, and you lose your grandparents too. I mean, could be very traumatizing.
You have hit it right on the nose, because that's where the real concern is in the courts and in our legislatures. What do we have to do to make this whole divorce or separation or breakdown in a non-marital relationship less painful and difficult for the children.
See, it's got to be, and I love that you bring this to us, Donald. And that's why we were really excited that you were going to share something fresh, because it's got to be about the children. And sometimes a divorce isn't about them, especially when it comes to the grandparents, because it could be a bitterness, it could be a hate, whatever it is. And sometimes it's unfortunate for the children. They're going to lose out.
That's exactly right. And what we try to do as family law practitioners, we, of course, represent our clients, but there is not a real dedicated, experienced family law attorney who does not have their own children, or there's few of them. Or, even in my case, I'm a recent grandparent.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have a beautiful
So
granddaughter.
this hits home for you.
This hits home because even though my children are intelligent, well-educated, brilliant, divorce, separation causes the most intense rifts between people of anything that occurs in our lives. And the children sometimes fall in the middle of that great chasm.
And it's sad. So, how do you guys help with this? Give us some more details, because a lot of you out there, are, and you might be grandparents, or it is your parents, whatever, that are dealing with this situation, because maybe you're bummed that your parents can no longer see your children because of this rift.
I mean,
or
this
this
is
battle. And
this
there's
is
got to
real.
be
This
there's
is
got to
a
be
real thing.
legal steps that can help protect the children. Correct?
Absolutely right.
Okay.
And that is really the perspective. The most difficult thing to do for any family member, grandparent, or cousin or uncle is to try and not become an adversary. Try not to alienate the other side, because even though your daughter or your son may have the greatest emotional and financial reasons to be upset with the other side, try not to get into the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
That will allow not just you the chance to continue your harmonious relationship with both parents, but it'll also create in your home, you, the grandparents, a place of happiness, peace, and safety for your grandchildren.
Isn't that great advice?
I love that. Okay, Donald, you haven't seen, Jim's been on here, Matt's been on here. Who else? What's her name? Drawing a blank. But you guys all have. I love your firm and why we're tied in with you guys and why you're part of America's Professional Resource Group, which is aprgi.com, by the way, is that you guys always talk first, not about getting you into,
litigation.
You guys always talk about steps to really avoid it. Because I've heard from, in my personal situation, Jim always talked for 5 years on our show about, please try not, when you're going through a divorce, try to go through mediation. Try to not fight. Try to not do this. It's expensive. It's emotional. Blah, blah. And he gets into it over and over and over. And believe me, after 5 years of hearing it, I'm unfortunately going through a situation myself. Believe me, I took heed. And I talked to my future ex and said, here's what I've heard literally for 5 years. You can go talk to another attorney. If he's nice and has the right direction, like care, he'll give you the same advice. And luckily, the attorney she spoke to said the same thing. Go, yes, please avoid us going to court because it's going to cost you a lot of money and a lot of angst. Yeah,
exactly. It's a very simple thing. $1,000 worth of talk can save you $10,000 worth of war.
Oh, that's good numbers to think about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But you didn't talk about, because I was trying to get to the point that you can help somebody legally, but your first thought on our show was, hey, think about how to avoid that. Think about what's most important, which are the children. Think about this. Try to not go down this path. Go down this path. It's best for the child.
I love the angle of the grandparents' house being the safe haven. I really, really like that. I like that whole concept. So if you're listening, you're going through a divorce, think of that concept and say, hey, talk to your other significant other that you're having problems with and say, hey, let's leave the grandparents out so the kids can have a safe haven. Somewhere to go. Both grandparents, whatever. Somewhere to go that doesn't have to be part of this tumultuous.
If the parties can accomplish that and bring that kind of a and I hate to use the term, but it applies, that type of a game plan, that type of a frame of reference to their families, it will be a blessing to their divorce proceeding, because it will eliminate so much of the Hatfields and McCoys type of
That's
attitude.
a great analogy. All right. Hopefully you're listening to some great advice and some passionate advice from Donald Sherwyn with the Rickett Law Firm out here in Santa Cruz, the #1 family law firm out here. Donald Sherwyn's sharing some great information about your grandparents' rights and steps to help avoid challenges for the children while going through a divorce. And when we come back, we're going to touch a little bit more on that. But we're also going to talk about advanced planning for divorce, because stuff happens. And Donald Sherwyn's here to help us through it. You can tell he's passionate, he cares, and he's going to help you or somebody you know when we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We'll be right back.